I think we need one that is stable. Switched network connection. Now it's okay.
Okay. So okay, I said today we're going to be going through like the interface of Illustrator, and I said that well, it looks like Photoshop, right? So if you've used Photoshop, then some things will not be strange to you when you come to Illustrator. The layout, the structure, for example, is almost the same thing. Here you have the menu, you have the file here, with the most important features here being the open file and create files here, and receiving save file and export. I think we've gone through that already. I think so. In the edits, you have the undo and redo settings, spellings are the most important here. In the objects here, you have the expand. If you want to group something the same way like in Photoshop, now Control G, you can group. You can also highlight them and come and press group here or ungroup here. Same to the lock unlock features here. On the type, the type is where you are in settings for characters, now for typography. So here you have the font here, recent font, the size of the font, and this glyphs is what I was showing. So these glyphs here, when you click on glyphs, this box here will appear, and glyphs is for letters or characters which are not normally on your keyboard. So you're seeing all these letters which you don't normally see them on your keyboard. So if you want to use these letters here, you can simply click on glyph, and this box will appear, and you should now create a text, right? Let's create a new text. Let's increase the size so it should be more visible. So now if I wanted to add a text, for example, this N here, I can just come and click on it. See now. So all these custom signs, all these custom symbols, which normally not accessible on your keyboard, you can find them here on glyphs. On the type, go to glyphs. This will appear here. You can change the case to uppercase, lowercase, title, punctuation. So you can insert some characters, bullets, paragraph symbol. Here on the select section here is basically as if you're using this tool here, the select tool. The same thing. You have the effects panel, and just like in Photoshop, you have effects as well. You have 3D, convert to shape, distort, transform, pathfinder. We've seen the pathfinder already. Stylize, so you can add drop shadow. We saw drop shadow in Photoshop, so you have this drop shadow as well in Illustrator. Feather, inner glow, outer glow, round corner, scribble. So these effects, right, I'm showing you for you to test these effects out, right, and see what they can do. So we'll not go through every effect here. So we have seen, for example, how to use the Gaussian blur. So you can test other effects as well. You've seen how to use the drop shadow. So you can test some of other effects as well and see what they do. But from the name, you can already guess feather. Feather, inner glow, outer glow, round corner, scribble. Just give me a minute, please. Mommy, 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 mommy. Please your volume. Please. Okay, so talk about the effects, right? Here you have some blur effects, Gaussian blur, radial blur, smart blur. And on the view here, in the view panel, These are mostly settings which involves changing how you preview items here on your screen, right? So most of these things are not really very useful in your day-to-day design uses. So you have zoom in and zoom out. You can use Control plus to zoom, Control minus to zoom out, to zoom in and out. Fit artboard to window. It's going to make this artboard here fit exactly on this screen. Or you can rotate your view. You can add rulers as well. Some rulers in the corners. So this is what view control. Window on its own part control other settings which you not necessarily see here, because the ones you see here are not limited to just this. So all the settings are found here on the Windows panel. So for example, if you wanted to add let's say align, you click on align here, it appears. If you want to add actions, for example, click on actions, it appears. So that's what all of them are found on the Windows panel here. And lastly, you have the help panel. That's in case you're facing an issue, you can go to the help panel. So on the toolbar here, the first tool here, you have the selection tool, which permits you to move objects on your screen, just like on Photoshop. And it also permits you to resize. When you click on an object, you see these anchor points appear. So when you come to any of these anchor points, you see that the cursor changes. And if you hold your finger on shift, click on any of the anchor points and drag, you can resize anything, right? And if you also come at the corner of the anchor point, you see how the cursor will change to a bent arrow, and I can click and drag in order to rotate. To rotate in perfect angles, maintain your hand on shift to rotate in perfect angles of 45 degrees. So one thing to notice, when you're resizing something on Illustrator, always maintain your hand on shift while resizing to avoid distorting the object. So this is a key difference from Photoshop. In Photoshop, when resizing, you don't have to put your hand on shift, whereas in Illustrator, you have to put it on shift to avoid distorting your text or your image, unless you're actually intending to distort it. So for example, if I want to drag this downward, I can just click here and drag. I want to distort it right here. See, it's distorted. But if this wasn't my intention, then I'm to maintain my hand on shift, and it's going to increase to proportion like this. So apart from the selection tool, we have the direct selection tool. Now the direct selection tool is useful especially after you've used your pathfinder tool in order to cut out shapes, right? So for example, we have this little design here which was formed. So if you've gone through some of the lessons we did before, you would understand that these custom shapes here were not made independently. They were done by combining different shapes, right? They were done by combining three circles. You have one, two, one circle, two, the second circle is here, and this is the third circle. If you've come across this brand called Reebok, I think that's the name. Let me see. Okay, they've changed your logo. Okay, Adidas rather. So let's look at Adidas. So a logo like this, like the Adidas logo like this, right? This shape here was done by combining two circles with the Pathfinder tool. So like this, for example. So we use our shape tool here. This one down is the shape tool, the ellipse tool. The shape tool you have different tools. You have the ellipse, rectangular, polygon. We're going to use the ellipse, right? So we're going to draw an ellipse here on our screen like this. Maintain a hand on shift for it to have a perfect shape. And we're going to duplicate this ellipse. Click on the selection tool. Maintain your hand on the Alt key. See how the cursor changes. Click and drag. So I've duplicated like this. Now I want them to be aligned at the top, aligned together and at the top like this, or at the center. So I can click on my skin and drag to highlight both of them. So now how do I make them to be aligned? This panel here appears. If you don't see it here, you will see it here in the align panel. And if you don't see it here, you can simply go on your windows here and you will see align. This align here. Click on it and this will appear. And I'll align them in the center, right? The vertical align center. So are you seeing this shape now, which has been formed in the middle here? It looks the same as what we saw here in the Adidas logo, right? So now how do I now separate this shape from these other two circles? How do I extract this? After highlighting both of them, I can simply go to the objects panel and select expand. So we're almost there, but it's not exactly done yet. So now what do we do next? We'll highlight again, and this time we go to the Pathfinder here. Same thing, if you don't see a Pathfinder here, you go to window and you find it on your window section. And we're going to select divide. When you click on divide, it still looks the same, but now the difference is we're now going to change our tool. Rather than using the direct selection tool, we're going to use the direct selection tool, this one here. The direct selection tool now permits you to edit individual parts of a cutout shape, right? So now I can click on this one here and move it, click on this one here and move it, and guess what? We have this new shape. I can even click on it and delete it, and click on this here and delete it. Now only this is left. So this is our new shape now that I've created. So from this shape now I can duplicate it by maintaining my hand on the Alt key, clicking and dragging. I can rotate it as well. And duplicate this one, maintain Alt and bring it here. Now I want this one to look in the opposite direction as this. So what I will do is I will right click on it. I'll go to transform. When you go to transform, if you've done maths from 5, then you should recognize some of these things. Move, rotate, reflect, scale, share. And what we're trying to do is to reflect it. So in the opposite direction as the first one. So I'll press on reflect. See, there's two ways you can reflect, either vertical reflect like the mirror, or horizontal as you're looking into water, right? So it's the vertical that we choose, and you press OK. So that is it, it has been rotated. So we can increase the angle as well. Okay, we'll set this one to 318. You can even delete this one, duplicate this one again, right click, transform, reflect, OK. So there you have it. Then we'll bring it close again. You can highlight everything and align them at the bottom like this. So there you have it. So, and another thing is those lines, those 3 lines. So I can now use my rectangle tool, for example here, and pass 3 lines on it. This is the first line. I'm going to put it to a white color for it to be visible. I'll zoom in a little bit. So there are 3 of them, right? So this is the first one. I duplicate this one time, duplicate it another time again. So this is it. But however, this is not actually accurate, because what? If I now take this logo, right, for example, and I change it on another background, this is how it looks like, which isn't exactly accurate. This is not what we're trying to do. So we want this part here to disappear, and we want this part in the middle here to be transparent. So what do we do now? The same process, will highlight everything, go to object, expand again, expand now, go to the pathfinder and divide. Now we can select unwanted parts using our direct selection tool. Select unwanted parts, delete it, delete it, delete it, delete it, delete it, delete, delete. Like this. You can zoom in as well in the middle here. Delete, 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 delete here, and delete. So now you can carry this logo now, bring it here, and that is it. We can now add the text. Now the type of our T tool here, right here, and we'll change the font to
So please, how to delete the space inside the rectangle?
the word.
I missed the step. Please, can you go back to how you deleted the space in the rectangle?
Okay, let me
I missed the step.
undo it so you see it.
Like what option did you press before?
Yeah, so after we highlighted everything, right, then we
Yes.
expanded, then after expanding, we went to our pathfinder
Object.
to divide,
Huh.
right,
Mm.
to divide. Let's we carry it away,
Mm.
see the difference. So now I zoomed in. I use this one, the
Mm.
direct selection tool, and now I simply
Direct solution.
click on the white line because I want to delete these white lines, right? So I click on the white line,
Yes, sir.
now space to delete. Click on the white line, press backspace, white line, backspace, white line, backspace to delete, like that.
Thank you.
Like this, I click here, delete it. Okay, delete, click here, delete. Click on the white space, delete. Click here again, delete. So now, this is it now. So now these lines here now are now what? Transparent. So I've simply deleted the parts of this shape, right? This part here of the shape, this part here of the shape, to form this. So now I can now move it now, displace it or resize it, put it back on my canvas, and add the title, right? Of the das. So we'll change the font as well. We don't have the exact font, but let's just use our own. Can maintain my hand on shift and expand it. So I can highlight both of them like this and press on this one so it should align themselves together in the middle like this. And there you have it. Our logo has been created. Okay, let's reduce this a little bit again. Okay, it looks more like this. The center. So now after doing this, I can highlight both of them and press Ctrl G to group them together, right? Let's put this one a little bit out, delete this one. Then I can click on it and press this one to align it in the center and align it vertically in the center. And here we have our logo. Can also increase the size as well. Center, center. So we can now present this now to the client, right, as a sample. As a sample. So basically this is how the Adidas logo was done. À quelque chose près. So on this logo, the leaves are like a little bit smaller, on a little bit bigger, our leaves, than on the original, but it's the same concept. So applying this like same principle, you can create other custom types of shapes, right? Depending, just the limit is your creativity in how you use the tool. The limit is your creativity. So apart from this, we had the pen tool, right? And we said the pen tool is for tracing. It's for tracing objects, right? And drawing custom shapes as well and tracing objects. So you can trace almost anything. You can trace almost anything. You can also even trace pictures to create vector portraits. Something maybe you can look at. You can go to YouTube and find some tutorials on that. But using the pen tool is simple. When you click on your screen, an anchor point is being created. So it's like this anchor point is following you. A line is being created to follow you now wherever you go to create another anchor point. So when I click again on my screen, a second anchor point has been created to be linked with the first one. When I click again anywhere, a third anchor point has been created. Anywhere, if anchor point has been created. So now, what if I want to do a curve, right? When I want to do a curve, rather than clicking once and leaving, I'll click, maintain my hand on the click button, and then drag it like this. So now a curve has been formed. So when you make one curve, the curve feature remains. So if you want to cancel this curve, I simply come back to this anchor point here and click on it. So now the curve has been cancelled. Now the next anchor point I make will not be a curve, but rather if I still want it to be a curve, I'll click on it again. I'll click, maintain my hand, the click and drag, and a curve will be formed. Now the reason for doing this is because sometimes the second curve here might not be the way you want the curve to be. You see, because when it already comes as a curve like this, it does not really, you have little control, right, as to how the curve can be. So if you want to have the full control as to how the curve can be, or if it doesn't really match the outline you're trying to trace, you can simply come and cancel this, right, and create your own curve again by clicking and dragging for it to look as you wish. For it to look as you wish. And you can do a simple application by, let me see something we can. Oh, this pen is going to take us time. Something very simple. Something very simple. We can sketch fast. Okay, let's do this. Let's say we want to draw a small cloud, right? I want to draw a small cloud. So we're going to sketch this cloud. So the first thing is that I'll put my image right here, firstly. Then I'll go to my layers panel here. I'll create a new panel on top. A new panel. So now there are two layers. I'll come down to this layer where my image was. Is here on the first layer, and I'll block it so I cannot move it again. This will prevent me from accidentally moving this image while I'm trying to trace it. That's why I block the layer. And the next thing I do after blocking it is I come to my transparency here, down here, and reduce the opacity. Why do I reduce the opacity? Is so that, okay, let me unlock it first before reducing the opacity. So I click on it, come to opacity, and reduce it like this before locking it again. The reason why I reduce the opacity is because when I'll be creating my new outlines, I want to be able to see those outlines. Thus I'm reducing the opacity of this. I can now come back, click on my second layer, because this is where my outline will be. This is where the image was. So you create a new layer for your outlines to be on a new layer. And now select my pen tool. I can zoom in for it to be more accurate. So what happens here? I select an anchor where I look for where I'm going to put my first anchor point. I want to put my first anchor point here. So I'm going to click here. So where I want my next anchor point to be is going to be here, right? So I'll click here and drag until it fits this curve, right? So it fits the curve. I leave it. So now you see that the next curve which appears now does not match what I'm trying to do. So I have to cancel it. I'll come and click here and cancel it. So now I want to make my next curve now. So I'll come and click here and drag. But what happens now, I'm just that it does not really, this is not what, the curve does not really match the curve I want to create. I can press Ctrl Z to undo, come back here. I'll click and I'll drag like this. So this time around, it kind of fits, right? Can click on the anchor point here to undo. I'll click here and drag. That is it. So the next point, anchor point for me is here. So click here to undo the curve. Come at the edge here and click. Our next anchor point has been made. Next anchor point, I'll come here, click once and drag like this. Anchor point done. I'll cancel this next one. Click here and drag. Curve done. Cancel the curve. I'll come here, click and drag till it matches the curve. Done. Click here and cancel it. Then click here and drag. So there you have it. Our little cloud has been created. This is our little cloud. So far is the explanation on the different tools of scene clear? Okay, so remember you have to practice it again. Practice in different things, in different ways. So this is useful when maybe you find a resource, right, online, and you want to use it, right? You want to use that resource online. But let's say I wanted to, like, for example, this cloud, I want the cloud, right? But this cloud here doesn't permit me, this cloud here doesn't permit me to what, first of all, remove these elements here since I don't need them. And it don't also permit me to change the color because it's an image. So I can use my pen tool and redraw it to have this. Now I can customize this. I can change its color to whatever I want. I can remove the color even and put an outline here. I can go to stroke here, down here, and increase the size of the stroke like this. So I can customize this like shape. That's the advantage of the pen tool. I can withdraw anything and customize it. I can even change the stroke type by coming up here. I'll draw this one down and I will see some options here. So if I click on this, you see my outline, see as has changed. So it adds these effects. I can click and change it maybe to this, and you see how it looks like now. Remember, we started here and we ended here. That's why you're seeing it. So from this here, for example, this one, click, for example, this one. So what are you seeing? Is that it starts small and ends small. So you see now, it starts small, goes increase size and ends small. And other options as well. So this one, it has sharp edges. So it starts very sharp here, goes increase size and ends back very sharp at the corner here. So another application, for example, would be if, well, let's say you have this image here, for example. Let's say you had this image, right? This image. So I can use my pen tool now and redraw this image like this using my pen tool. By doing what, I'll lock the layer. No, first of all, reduce the opacity. Use opacity. Then I'll lock the layer, create a new layer, and then I'll trace on this layer. So you can try this, right, as an exercise. Try to get an image of an illustration and try to trace that illustration. Or if you want, I can send you this particular one. No, this one might be difficult. I'll send you a simpler one, right, of an image like this. Then you can practice tracing with it. Tracing and coloring. So apart from this pen tool here, we also have the brush tool, right, the paintbrush tool. And just like in Photoshop, it is used to, well, do some hand drawings, right? So it's used to do hand drawings. So you can draw anything by hand using the brush tool. So this tool is actually very useful when you have like a graphics tablet. It will be very difficult for you to control using a mouse because I wanted to draw a car, for example. It will be very difficult to get it really accurately, right? But this tool is best used with a graphics tablet. A graphics tablet now permits you to so here is our very beautiful car, a dream car. So you see now, you have to make custom drawings. That's what the brush tool does. So however, it's very difficult to get accuracy with this since you're using your mouse. So it is best used using a graphics tablet. Let me show you what a tablet looks like. If you have money, you could get one for yourself. So professional illustrators use this, it's a graphics tablet. They use this for their illustrations, right? So you're seeing, because these highly detailed illustrations will be hard to do using your mouse, since your mouse is not very accurate. But however, with this graphics tablet, you can use now your brush tool and draw literally anything you want here on Illustrator from scratch directly. So this is used mostly by artists, right? By artists. So if you want to be an artist, then this is a must get for you. But if you want to be a brand designer, then this is not really very important. I'll not say it is not at all important, but it is not very important. It means you can do without. It is mostly useful for illustrators, those who draw digital drawings, right? Yes. So that's what the paint tool does. The brush tool, sorry. And below here, we also have this one, the pencil tool. And the pencil tool is just like the brush tool, but the difference here is the pen tool creates anchor points. The pencil tool creates anchor points just like when as if you're using the the pen tool. And these anchor points can be what? They can be modified. So you can click on it and come to an anchor point here and modify this anchor point, for example, you see, like this, which I cannot do on the, oh, sorry. You can do it as well on the brush tool. My mistake. You can do it as well. So actually, the main difference rather was not on this. The main difference, let me show you the main difference, what the main difference was. Let's do something. So we're going to draw a circle here like this, and we're going to use the pencil tool and draw another circle here. Now we're going to now click on this one here, my mouse is disturbing a little bit. So now, are you seeing this difference? We applied some settings here. We applied some stroke settings on both of them, but you see something here. This one was not applied. Are you seeing the stroke here? So we came to this stroke settings here and made the width profile to be 1, but it didn't affect this with the brush tool. And with the pencil tool, when we changed the brush settings and put the width profile to 1, it was affected like this. So the pencil tool is like a custom pen tool, right? It's like a custom pen tool. That is why you can do anything which you can do with the pen, you can do with the pencil tool as well. Like for example, edit this brush, the stroke edges, the stroke width, right, at the edges, which you cannot necessarily do with the paintbrush tool. So the paintbrush tool, its strokes are fixed. So as you made a stroke like this, it's going to remain like that. So that is the main difference between them.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So another thing you can do on Illustrator, right, is you can download different brushes on Illustrator. If you download different brushes, it's going to appear here. Also, if you go on this brush library menu, you will see other brushes as well. For example, artistic brush, let's for example calligraphy. So you see these different types of brushes which you can use. So for example, this one, see as it has changed. This one. This was artistic paint brush. So look at this one. See as it has become now. Or this one. So this is the different types of brush effects, right, which you can use. So look at this one, for example. So you can do this like this and add some effects to your brushes, to your outlines. You can also control opacity up here, right? You can control opacity by reducing it here. So the next thing we're going to look at is the eraser tool. The eraser tool. And with the eraser tool simply means that what? You can simply come and, as the name says, erase anything which you've done, like this. But now, something really important about this eraser tool is that it doesn't just erase it, it also creates anchor point. In fact, everything you do in Illustrator creates anchor point which can be edited. So erase this like this. So you see that what? It has changed the anchor points from how it was to like this, to match what the pattern we wiped out with the eraser tool. So if you come here and do the same thing like this, let's say we make like this. Let's select the eraser. So you see what happens now. So you see what the eraser has done now. So the eraser does not just wipe out, but it rewires the anchor points. So another important tool here is the gradient tool. The gradient tool here. And the gradient tool simply permits you to add a gradient on your canvas just like on Illustrator, just like on Photoshop. So I can click like this. Let me clear some of these things. Okay, sorry. You have to draw the shape first. So you go on your shape tool here, you draw the shape. So now with your gradient tool now, you see now you can now modify the gradient. So I click on this color, for example, I double click on it so I can come and modify it here like this. You can click on this one here, double click on it. You can also modify it like this. So let's go over it again. I have a feeling this was not clear. So to use the gradient tool, the first thing you do is to create your shape first. You can create your shape. And once your shape has been created, you can now click on the gradient tool to edit the gradient on it. So let's just say this shape had this blue color. Okay, let me change it. The shape has this red color. This is the shape you just created with a red color. So now if I click on my gradient tool here, right, and if I click on my gradient tool now, see, I'll come on this panel here on the right. On the right here, you should see gradient somewhere around here. So if I click now on this gradient here, on this line here, gradient slider like this, a gradient is being created on the shape. I can click on these anchor points and move them, and this controls my gradient. So if I delete this blue here, for example, I click on the blue here, click on the delete icon, I deleted the blue. I click on this one here, I click on the delete icon, I deleted the red. If I want to add another anchor point, I just click on it, it has been created. If I want to change its color, I can double click on it like this, and I can edit it here or down here on the swatches here or here. I can edit it maybe to purple like this. Or another way is I can use the color picker and select the color from anything on my screen. For example here, the black. So these are the three ways you can edit the color on the gradient, right? So when I double click here, the first option here is by changing the RGB values to create new colors, or by selecting one from my swatches, or by using the color picker tool and selecting one from anything or any color on my screen like this. I can add anchor points by clicking on the gradient like this. Anchor points have been created, and to delete them, I click on the anchor point, the delete button. So there are different types of gradients. You have the linear, the radial gradient here, and the free-form gradient. So in the free-form gradient, anchor points will appear on your shape. You can also add anchor points by clicking anywhere on your shape to add anchor points. And to modify the color of an anchor point, simply click on it. Double click on it rather, and this same panel appears. I can modify it from here like this. And I'm going to click on my screen. If I want to modify the gradient again, when I click on it, I can simply come and click on my gradient tool where the anchor points appear again. So basically you can use the gradient tool to add or customize gradients on a shape. Now let's say I want to add gradient on a text rather than a shape, right? So I have this my text here. Let me ungroup this one and duplicate. I have this my text here. I want to add gradient on this text. So how do I do that? If I just add gradient, if I just come to my gradient tool here, gradient, and try to add a gradient on it, if I just come on my gradient tool here and try to add a gradient on it like this, see, it does not work. The color is still black. To be able to add a gradient on a text, the first thing I have to do is to expand it. I'll go to my object section here and expand it. Okay. So now if I now come and click on it and select gradient, now it has changed. Right. So now you see that each letter has a gradient of its own, right? A new gradient. But what if I wanted that the gradient should be uniform across the letter? Let's duplicate it so you see the difference. So what I'll do is I'll put back a normal color on it first. Normal color. I'll go to object. No, I'll go to wait, let's see, object, where is it? Yes, object, go down to compound part and select make compound part. Now see what happens when I add the gradient. Add the gradient now, and you see now the gradient is now uniform across the text. See the difference between the first one without making a compound part, this first one without making a compound part, and second one after making a compound part. So this is how you add gradient into a text. And how do you add an image on a shape in Illustrator? You do that by taking the image, let's delete and use a circle rather, an ellipse. So here is it. We have our image here, and this is our ellipse here. So make sure what the image is in the shape is in front of the image. The first step, the shape should be in front of the image. And then second step is I have to highlight both of them by either using my mouse and just dragging like this across both of them, or I can click on the first shape, maintain my hand on the shift key and press on the second like this. So both of them have to be selected. Once they're selected, I right click and I do what? Make clipping mask like this. And boom, there you have it. Your image has been put in a shape. So we've gone over a lot of things today. So we're going to stop here for today. Stop here. We've gone over a lot of things. And I want you to practice. You can rewatch the video and practice some of these things. So all of this will be useful when you're designing. When you're designing, you might want to add gradients, add colors, add images with inside shapes, or maybe doing logos with custom shapes, tracing objects. So this is something which you would be doing. So so I want you to practice all these things, especially tracing, right? Especially tracing and producing some custom shapes. So you might see a logo, for example, and try to reproduce it, right? Try to take some logos and try to reproduce them. And most importantly, once you do so, share your work. Design isn't made for you to store them on your PC. It's meant for it to be shared. Unless maybe you're trying to do I don't know, maybe you're cooking up something so amazing that the world has never seen before. That's why you're so peculiar about it. Yeah, gatekeeping your ideas. Make person no steal your design. Alright, we'll finish the end of the class today. Thank you so much for attending.